What's up, y'all? Hey. What's up, y'all? This is the Above Green. I had to start us off with a dab, but welcome to yet another episode of Tarot Tea Tell All, where we spill all the tea on you. With that being said, let's jump in. Thank you for not only showing up for me today, but for doing the damn thing and showing up for yourselves, because that is rare. So I commend you. On top of that, please know energy is fluid. So he could be a she could be a he, they could be a they could be a whomever or whatever they want to be. Okay, I could pull a King of Swords and be talking about your Aunt Marjorie. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Put the energy where it fits. With that, sorry, I got distracted by a notification. Please know that this reading is timeless. So whenever you stumble upon it, that is when it was meant to find you. If it doesn't resonate, please just let it sit and let it marinate for those who actually need it. Or maybe realize that, maybe it's not a message for you. Maybe it's for someone else and they need to heed a warning. With that, let's dive in. Okay, so we got quite a few downloads to talk about today. We have one angel number that we will talk about and dissect today, and that is 1212. I've got all my downloads written down for us. We're gonna get into the nitty-gritty. Let's go ahead and get this lit. While we're lighting that, might as well get this lit too. It'll conduct more heat anyway. Cool. Our downloads today, y'all. This was a really interesting one, by the way. There was a lot of channeling for a particular song that I used to listen to when I was a lot younger. But anyway, our angel number today is 1212. That is the only one we will be dissecting as of right now. It could be super important to you. There is a channeled song that I wanted to talk about, and that is outside of 1212. So I'll let y'all look up the lyrics to that on your own. But it's called Hero Dead and Gone. And this is the radio swing mix that I channeled, but it's by DeFaz. So D as in Deborah, E as in elephant, dash, P as in Perry, H as in Harry, A as in apple, Z as in zebra. DeFaz. Okay, and that is Hero Dead and Gone radio swing mix. I feel like this might be kind of your energy. The lyrics were really fun, so y'all can look up the lyrics, but it's just really fun, jazzy, kind of swing-like energy. I feel like something important to note also is that y'all are starting to notice that, the synchronicities, your predictions, all of these seem to be coming true right now. Congrats to you. I'm also gathering that y'all definitely need some vitamin D. So sunbathing is importante right now. Maybe, and definitely talk to your doctor about this, but I'm fairly certain a lot of you are lacking vitamin D. Talk to your doctor, get some vitamin D3, especially if you've been feeling sick. At least over here, whenever we feel under the weather in any sort of way, we take some vitamin D3, and it helps a lot. Not only that, definitely sunbathe if you can. Get yourself some natural vitamin D3 that way. On top of that, we had said this in the last reading, but much like your crystals, you too can also recharge under the moon by moonbathing. That's importante. All right, so I'm getting into 1212. We're going to merge all of this with it. So, as y'all know, I like to dissect them as such, so we're going to talk about 1 and 2. So 1212. 1 is related to the sun, so we've got Leo domicile, Aquarius detriment, Aries exalt, Libra fall. And then we have 2, which is related to the moon, so Cancer domicile, Capricorn detriment, Taurus exalt, and Scorpio fall. With that, this download I actually wanted to converge later because I've been channeling this song since like our last reading, which I believe I had done on October 10th. And so this song in particular has just kind of like been lingering in the noggin, and I want to merge it with our angel number 1212 as well. That song is Beast and the Harlot, and that's by Avenged Sevenfold. Not just the song, but the music video too, because in the music video, the beast, right? The beast inhabits the band members, so it inhabits Avenged Sevenfold, and it works through them. And anytime, you know, these band members observe a moment of sin, they send the harlot, who is kind of like, you know, their ringleader, they send the harlot to tempt those in sin. Furthermore, some even end up having to sign contractual agreements, but it's the harlot, the siren, the femme fatale who lures them in. So with that, if successfully tempted by the harlot's invite, right, they now belong to the beast. I feel like there's a lot of symbolism there. At the end of it all, though, the beast even turned the tables on the harlot and stole her soul too. She was under the impression that, you know, she was there to help collect lost souls, and she didn't realize she was losing her own soul in the process. Temptation, whatever that is to you, is really, really trying you right now. And as they say, the devil knows everyone's price. Some of y'all could feel like you might be close to like some sort of meltdown or completely releasing any sort of inhibitions. Or, you know, maybe you've already had a meltdown. So, you know, or done some sort of self-sabotage. It's not your fault that you're overwhelmed, but keep the beast inside wrangled in. Your reactions are your responsibility, and any consequences that come with should be used as learning tools. Okay? On top of that, while you are going to have to deal with your shadow a little more often, especially this month, okay, be prepared for others to also be dealing with their own shadow. And then, you know, have the grace to realize that not many people even realize that that's what they're dealing with, you know. Just expect the unexpected. You know, people may act like whole ass monsters, whole ass demons, and it's not even Halloween yet, y'all. But these portals be opening. I got some strong feelings of mercenary work in the spiritual realm. So maybe like in the spiritual realm, y'all, or even like if you have a partner, maybe your partner is seen as like some sort of mercenary or a soldier in the spirit. Maybe both of you, but definitely like some like spiritual war vibes. Those are definitely prevalent. As above, so below. So if you are facing a lot of conflict in your personal life in the 3D, you can bet that you're facing it in the 5D, and probably, like, you know, on a grand scale of 10 times more. So just take that into account. This is really specific. Be wary of that individual who labels themselves as a dark empath. Okay? As that's not, like, even a term that can be found in the DSM, or, you know, really anything that is recognized in, you know, the branch of psychology as something that is actual, you know, criteria for a diagnosis, or an actual diagnosis in general. And it just honestly feels like another pseudonym, if you ask me, for the covert narcissist. So anybody who labels themselves as a dark empath, you already know, like, that's like code words for be wary. And that is a warning from your own guides, okay? Some of y'all are being called to work with Hecate, the Morrigan, which is another triple moon goddess, and then we have Lilith. For some of you, even Kalima, okay? Like, I'm getting hella, like, femme fatale, like, dark feminine energy. Right now, black cats, black dogs, crows, ravens, bats, any sort of books, but not necessarily, like, it doesn't have to be a physical book. Any, like, imagery of books can be synchronistic to you. Artistic makeup can be synchronistic for you, specifically, like, anything having to do with red, especially around the eyes. So, like, red eye makeup, especially if there's sequins. And lollipops, especially if they're rainbow, and especially if they're those, like, oversized circular spiraled ones. I feel like that will be some sort of symbol or synchronicity for you, so keep a lookout for that. Again, that was black cats, black dogs, crows, ravens, bats, lollipops, books or imagery of books, and again, artistic makeup, specifically leaning towards red. Some of y'all may be into, you know, the witchy superstitions in which you count crows in order to foretell future events, you know, such as, like, 2 crows means, like, a bond forever, or possibly marriage, things of that nature. But yeah, some of you may count crows, or maybe this is a sign that you should start counting crows in order to be able to foretell certain events in your own life in particular, especially within, like, you know, a short time period. That way you're not, like, having to sit here and listen to, like, a 30-minute reading. You can just have your crows there and you're like, okay, I know. Some of you are reconnecting or even refreshing a relationship, okay? So maybe you're getting back with someone. Be careful there. Be careful. Or you're already in a relationship and it's getting a little bit of a reboot. Some of you are focusing on balancing your inner world, particularly the feminine and masculine energies within. I feel like in order to really achieve this, some shadow work is definitely needed, so I'm going to give y'all some homework. Shadow work about the opposite sex, okay? So, like, you can totally search prompts yourself or create prompts if you wish to, but a prompt I'd like to throw your way is, when did I first become afraid of the opposite sex, and why? Or it could be, when did I start loathing the opposite sex, and why? Okay? And from there, I want you to make observations of other individuals who, you know, may be in your life, or who you know, are around you who are of the opposite sex, and, you know, maybe compare and contrast and see and kind of play lawyer in the sense of, like, you know, asking yourself, all of these things that I loathe about this group in particular, how is it true about that person in particular? Okay? Does that make sense? Kind of put yourself on trial. Well, I don't want to ignore the fact that, you know, obviously the patriarchy totally exists, especially here in white America. White, cisgendered America. Well, the patriarchy totally exists, and while I know damn well there are some incredibly cruel and messed up things that women do as well, there's a lot of generalization, a marginalization, if you will, that is really closing you off to individuals who would make huge differences within your life, you know, be it platonic, partnership through business, you know, romantic. I feel like you are really doing yourself the disservice by closing yourself off to these people as a whole by generalizing. So definitely get into some shadow work in terms of that. You know, well, I don't want to ignore the fact that, you know, the patriarchy is a problem. I also want to remind everybody that, you know, humans are going to human no matter how they identify. Some don't even have a label, okay? Some are androgynous. Some are, you know, there's just, that's how they choose to be, and that's okay. The thing is, we cannot marginalize or generalize a whole group completely in that way unless they are displaying heavy cult-like behavior. Now, that could be specific hate groups, such as, you know, I'm not going to get into it, but y'all understand what I mean. You're smart. We can heal and work on our own bitterness, okay, as it serves no one, and it only harms us in the end, if you really think about it. I mean, yeah, we could do harm to others, but in the end, what is that bitterness really doing for anybody? You know? Yeah. Just, I feel like some sunbathing, some vitamin D3 is really important, some journaling, you know, recognizing that, yeah, maybe you are in your femme fatale era, but that doesn't mean you have to, like, hate the other gender completely. I feel like I am talking to a lot of women right now. Definitely go out there, do some sunbathing, definitely moonbathe. This will help connect you to your inner divine feminine. Okay. Don't forget sunblock. Use sunblock. Don't listen to those people who say sunblock is bad for you. They really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If need be, get an all natural mineral sunblock, but use sunblock. Let's see. If you are, like, you know, feminine, or, you know, you identify as a woman or female, I am getting, you know, black cat energy for sure. If you identify as someone who is of the male gender or masculine or whatever, I'm getting golden retriever energy. Just kind of put it where it fits. If male and coupled, your partner is going through a transformation of the soul right now, okay? A metamorphosis, if you will. And while patience is appreciated, please also remember your own worth and have those boundaries, and don't let her walk all over you. You know, I'm not saying she's going to, like, do this intentionally, but, you know, people's moods gonna make them do all kinds of crazy shit. People are gonna human. Yeah. You deserve to have boundaries and love too. It's not just women. And then vice versa. If you're the, you know, the female energy in this in this reading. Like, obviously you're going through it. I get it, but you know, reel it in. Reel the beast in a little bit. I just channeled Bossy by Khalees. So some of y'all might be coming off a little bossy, and you know, well, that energy is great, you know, for when it comes to others. It's not necessarily so great when it comes to your romantic life. Just kind of reel it in and do some shadow work, please. I want to read the lyrics to y'all from Beast and the Harlot. So I'm going to use my laptop. Let's see. Okay, so the lyrics for Beast and the Harlot are, "This shining city built of gold, a far cry from innocence. There's more than meets the eye round here, look to the waters of the deep, a city of evil. There sat a 7-headed beast, 10 horns raised from his head. Symbolic woman sits on his throne, but hatred strips her and leaves her naked. The beast and the harlot. She's a dwelling place for demons. She's a cage for every unclean spirit, every filthy bird, and makes us drink the poisoned wine, to fornicating with our kings. Fallen now is Babylon the Great. The city dressed in jewels of gold, of jewels and gold, fine linen, myrrh, and pearls. Her plagues will come all at once as her mourners watch her burn, destroyed in an hour. Merchants and captains of the world, sailors, navigators too, will weep and mourn this loss with her sins piled to the sky, the beast and the harlot. She's a dwelling place for demons. She's a cage for every unclean spirit, every filthy bird, and makes us drink the poisoned wine to fornicating with our kings. Fallen now is Babylon the Great. The day has come for all us sinners. If you're not a servant, you'll be struck to the ground. Flee the burning, greedy city, looking back on her to see there's nothing around. I don't believe in fairy tales and no one wants to go to hell. You've made the wrong decision and it's easy to see. Now if you want to serve above or be a king below with us, you're welcome to the city where your future is set forever." And then the chorus and all that good stuff. While temptation is at the forefront, things may, kind of actually simmer down or even pause this month between, you and your partner, if you are partnered. Try not to worry, though. Your partner is really trying to do the inner work, so just be gentle on one another. I got a vision of the snake ritual, and I think that was from American Horror Story Coven. I think it was that one. I'm pretty sure it was that one. If y'all are trying to get pregnant, though, you will definitely have more luck or potency this month. So you may get a positive pregnancy test next full moon. If watching this month, October 21st, you'll get it during the new moon, okay? But if not, the new moon is when you will conceive, so October 21st. And if that is when you conceive, I believe you will get that positive pregnancy test next full moon, which will be November 5th, 2025. And then for most of you, this is going to be a baby girl. This is a gift from Lilith. Okay, she also wouldn't mind if you named your baby after her. I was told to throw that in. Lilith is trying really hard to connect with you right now. So maybe reach out to her. I'm also getting to reach out to Bost or Bostet, however you choose to pronounce her name, but from Egyptology, Bostet. Some may try to demonize you. I got like the Scarlet A. But some may try to demonize you, especially if you are walking away, you know, from a relationship, a friendship, family members, etc. Lilith herself was also labeled as a she-demon after she refused to listen to Adam. Okay, and that was simply just because she refused to listen to Adam. All of a sudden, she was a she-demon, and she was banished from the Garden of Eden. Okay, so it's like, who the fuck cares? Okay? I definitely feel like y'all are in your villain era right now. And it kind of feels like, you know, a lot of people might treat you like a villain. In all reality, personally, I feel like Lilith is, and y'all should do some research on her. Maybe read some books about her. But I feel like Lilith is a symbol of equality and independence. Especially when it comes to femininity. So take that as you will. Again, while many of you are reclaiming your feminine self, please do not walk all over others or allow your emotions to run amok right now. While the veil is thin, just expect others to sin. Don't take it personally. You know, the devil is allowed to roam more, and he'll do anything to gain a following. And in all reality, like, he wants you too. And again, like, he knows everyone's price, including yours. So when the veil is thin, just expect others to sin. And it's about to be real thin. I do want to let you know that your rage is sacred. And it can be used to decode unmet needs that you are experiencing. Again, think Kali Ma. Do some research on both Lilith and Kali Ma. If you haven't already, maybe you're already connected to these individuals and they're kind of like wanting you to do more, you know, ritualistic practice, more communication, things of that nature. I also got, this was kind of random, but if some of y'all want to dress risque for Halloween, why the fuck not? Who cares? I understand that, like, you know, there might be children around and like there's those kinds of situations in which we do have to be a little more responsible, right? But if it's like, you know, just a party for a bunch of adults and shit, or it's just you and your girls or whatever, and you want to dress risque, like, have fun, dude. Like, Halloween is to be somebody else, you know, for a day. Typically, I like to dress as a unicorn. You know, I wear my unicorn onesie and I do my makeup and we go out, and that's that. But, you know, am I out there judging someone because they decided to, you know, wear lingerie for Halloween? Hell no. More power to them. Who cares? Embrace your inner feminine, y'all. If you just want to dress kind of like more, you know, revealing in general and show more skin, who cares? Just, you know, something just fell. So I'll take that as a confirmation. But do what makes you happy. Just, you know, bear in mind that, you know, some outfits are a little more appropriate for places than others are, okay? Especially if children are around. That's all I'm saying. Protect the children. That's it. Many of you are just simply exploring what it means for you to be a woman. Maybe that can be another shadow work prompt for you. What does it mean to you to be a woman? How does it feel to be a woman? And how are you reclaiming and empowering yourself and your feminine energy? Little fun fact, Lilith is primarily known from Jewish folklore and Kabbalistic texts. Okay? Let's see. If y'all are encountering new romantic interests at this time, especially on the day of Halloween if you're going to a party, I just want to let you know, do not expect anything serious. Sorry about that, but don't expect anything serious with them. They legit are just, kind of feeling the Libra Scorpio energy of October, and they're trying to get it wet. So just beware of overindulgence, beware of any temptation, beware. Do not go to parties alone, please. Especially costume parties where people may wear masks, because that's where a lot of predators go to hide and seek. Don't leave, I get it, this is all just kind of like, some of y'all probably feel this is common sense, but it's easy to get wrapped up in the moment. Especially if don't have all of your inhibitions about you, and like maybe you're drunk, maybe you're a little stoned, who knows, but yeah. Just don't leave your drinks unattended. Don't leave your blunts or your bowls unattended. Just be safe, okay? I know you're usually the mom of the friend group. I really don't blame you for wanting to let loose. Which you can, but just be careful. I want to tell you that God has a pact with the devil to allow the devil to, roam this plane. God doesn't own this. He shares it with many other people. And so he has a pact with, Lucifer to be able to roam this plane every now and then. And again, free will, you're allowed to pick and choose whoever you want. Yeah, there are rules, but if you break those rules, there's consequences to everything. Free will exists in the 5D too, y'all. Just a heads up. Right now, expect mini energy vampires. Handle that as you see fit. I feel like red is definitely a color to be put on notice right now, and this will definitely be synchronistic or symbolic to you. Red can be a symbol for passion, love, wrath, war. It could be a warning sign for danger. It's definitely related to the root chakra, and you can find that your root chakra needs work if you are seeing red often. That's associated with terror, fear, anxiety, stagnancy, stasis, stability, security. So think like basic needs, okay? Literally the basis of all other chakras is the root chakra. So I feel like on top of that, maybe you're experiencing lower back pain or pelvic pain, digestive problems, maybe higher bouts of IBS or even acid reflux, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, things like that. I feel like right now, color meditation will definitely help with red as the focal point, right? Maybe you can imagine yourself floating on a cloud while admiring a red-based sunset, or, a sunset with different shades of red and pink and all that fun shit. Some of you may be surfing the crimson wave of your menstrual cycle right now and are wary of baths. But to be honest, a bath or sitting at the bottom of a clean shower will do wonders for your cramps, especially if there's oil, especially if there's Epsom salts. Like, let yourself be, get some aromatherapy up in there. If you really don't want to, take a bath, Though I feel like you should, because with the root chakra, you kind of also want to like literally explore yourself and, you know, your body and get to know your vessel, and that'll help, you know, release some blockage. Maybe you can also envision yourself inhaling the good and then exhaling the bad. With the good, maybe being like red smoke with glitter. So close your eyes and envision yourself inhaling that. And then when you go for your exhale, you could exhale like some sort of gray smog or something that you would see as like polluted energy, right? Definitely consume red foods, so think like berries, beets, tomatoes, peppers, red wines, for those of you who like wine. Even red tea, like raspberry tea. That'll definitely help you if you have cramps, okay? Carry gemstones and crystals with you, such as strawberry quartz, red jasper, garnet, or even hematite. If you are going to do wine, maybe pour some out for your deities too. They'd appreciate that. On top of that, have a dinner date with your deities, okay? Like, I'm talking like a candlelight dinner date. Remind them how thankful you are with some good food and maybe some good wine and definitely some good candlelight. Have offering bowls and plates for each deity that you're hoping to have dinner with. You could do this on separate nights or, you know, all one night. Definitely bring offerings for each deity that they like. So do research for that, such as like if you're offering something to Hecate, you know, you could give her garlic, you could give her honey. She definitely likes spicy things. You could give her wine. You could give every single one of these deities wine. So maybe just like pour some wine, throw out some red meat and potatoes and some veggie, have dinner with them. Some of y'all have been really down on yourselves, okay? Especially about your looks. And your deities wanted you to know that they actually helped you. They helped you pick your visage out. And this visage was made in their image. Like, you're hot. You're a smoke show. Some of y'all have red or chocolatey brown hair, like a nice deep brunette, or even raven, like a black, a deep black, or even a brown black, and it's gorgeous. Here's an affirmation for y'all. Baby, it's already yours. So maybe write that on a post-it or in your journal, because baby, it is already yours. I just heard Bossy by Khalees again. Some of y'all are volunteers, or your job entails working with children or animals. You really have no idea how much of an impact that you make daily. Like, you are so loved and so respected, not just by these children, but by your deities for, you know, helping these children and animals. Oh, kind of going back to your looks, I got this quote from Dita Von Teese. You could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be somebody who hates peaches. And she ain't wrong, okay? Maybe some of y'all like kind of look like her. Like, she has like, if you don't know who Dita Von Teese is, you should look her up. She has this like burlesque pinup look, iconic red lipstick. So maybe y'all wear that. Maybe y'all wear winged eyeliner. Maybe you go about that like pinup type look. I feel like some of y'all may have distinct facial markings or even piercings. Y'all definitely, you know, are very curvy, or you got a snatched waist or something, but you're a smoke show. So whoever's feeling down on themselves, I hope you feel better. All right, let's go ahead and get into tarot. I cloak myself in a chiffon of pink. I ask my spirit guides, ancestors, deities, angels, and Mother Nature ground me in a protective glimmer, so I may think and so that I may shimmer. I am your oracle of the light, your seer in the dark. Please grant me that creative spark, and allow me to bask in your divine essence through this confusion and stark. I am you and you are me. Voice through me these messages you wish to speak, and blessed be. And so it be like that. Alright, y'all. I am going to light the sage and Palo Santo again. This might help some of y'all, but recently I just clipped $1 to our money tree over here. And I didn't like use an actual clip, I just used a bobby pin. And this will help you attract money. So, you know, maybe like put $1 on your altar, throw some cinnamon outside your front door first Friday every month. Throw some Florida water inside your mop bucket when you're mopping, and throw intention into there. You know, definitely sweep your front and back porch. Write on a bay leaf and burn it. Grow rosemary by your garden gate if you have one. If not, just grow some rosemary. But either way, like I feel like if you guys add that sort of ritual, you will definitely see a climb in your finances. But I feel like you already are, in a sense. Like I feel like y'all have, if not right now, pretty soon you are going to have money tucked away in so many different places. And this could totally be in, like, you know, stocks. This could be a Roth IRA. This could be a 401k. This could be you know, a savings account of some sort. This could even just be like an adventure jar, or like a money jar that you save money in. You know, you could have money in the fucking, you know, pant pocket that you didn't know about. I feel like you're just do that and you're gonna find money in just random ass places, and it's gonna be sweet. Let's see. What do I want to start with? Neither of these. I'm going to start with this one. I am going to start with the Modern Witch Tarot deck, and this is by Lisa Sturrell. This here is a Joker card, as I call it, that just tells you that you're a badass. I love this deck. It is definitely very, like, you know, female-centered and empowering in a sense. So I feel like this is definitely pertaining to the reading. Get up in there. There we go. One more. Oops. Oh. We have 9 of Wands in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Before I even shuffle, we have 9 of Wands reverse at the bottom of the deck. You are coming out of this wounded warrior energy. I feel like, you know, a lot of you are going through like an additional awakening because, like, you know, obviously we all go through multiple awakenings throughout our lifetime because, you know, we're not just going to have one epiphany and all of a sudden we have all of life figured out. It's not like that. But y'all are going through an awakening right now. And you are stepping out of that side of yourself in which you may have, like, you know, really felt sorry for yourself and, you know, felt like maybe you were stuck or maybe you were trapped. And You know, that whole anxiety and, you know, again, your root chakra, it sounds like it's blocked. But the whole idea that you're, you know, just in fight or flight consistently, in survival mode consistently. And I feel like that is, you know, coming to an end. You're dropping the wands because most of it wasn't your shit to begin with. 8 of Wands. Oops. Okay, let's get some more crowning energy, please. Judgment in reverse. May I have another one for crowning energy, please? Oh, we got a few more. We got 4 of Wands, 10 of Cups, oh, 4 of Wands, 10 of Cups, the Empress in reverse. We don't want her in reverse, though. We definitely don't want her in reverse. That is our crowning energy. Let's go ahead and get to our main energy. All right. What is the main energy of the collective today? Three of Wands. We got 3 of Wands last week, too. King of Pentacles. And one more, please. 3 of Cups in reverse. Got some gossiping biddies. Gossiping biddies. All right, let's go ahead and get the suppressed and oppressed energies. What is the suppressed and oppressed energy today? We have Ace of Swords. There's a moment of clarity that's being oppressed or suppressed here, I see. Oops. We have the Devil. And we've got the World, but it fell out sideways, so I'm going to put it sideways over the Devil and the Ace of Swords, as it is now intersecting with those particular energies. For overall energy, we have the Lovers in reverse and the High Priestess. We also have, let's see, Everything is Fine. What's behind that? The Page of Swords. Right? Yeah. And then the King of Swords. So Page, King. Behind those is the 5, but I'm gonna not really pay much attention to that. And then Everything is Fine. Yeah, you're definitely like coming out of this whole energy in which I feel like you've been feeding it consistently, in which, you know, you are in that Empress reverse energy where, you know, you might be in that wounded warrior, you know, woe is me, things should be different, like life is hard, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like on top of that, when you do the inner work and you do the journaling, and I feel like a lot of this does have to do with your feminine energy, and that's why we have King of Swords upright, King of Coins upright. Those are still both you. But we have the Empress in reverse. And we have the Lovers in reverse. And so it's like, I feel like there is an energy of needing to learn how to properly fuse these two energies together without favoring the one and without putting the other one down, if that makes sense. There was that shadow work in which you wanted to figure out why it is that you loathe the opposite gender. And again, I feel like I am talking to a lot of women, especially with the Three of Cups in reverse here. I feel like, there might even be like, groups that you're part of in which, this sort of attitude towards the opposite gender is, definitely not only celebrated, but encouraged. I don't see any reverse, male cards here. And again, typically I don't identify gender, but our downloads were heavily based on like the female and the masculine, the feminine and the masculine, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They say the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't. That's exactly what I'm getting from the World and the Devil and the Ace of Swords. The devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't. You feel this way because it keeps you safe. But at the same time, you're limiting yourself by confining yourself to this inner world and avoiding doing the inner work to, cultivate an outside in which, because obviously I feel like, a lot of you, I'm not going to lie, if you're not already partnered, a lot of you do want to be partnered. And I feel like your ideal partner, we don't have the Emperor out here right now, but I feel like that's because you don't necessarily see the opposite gender in that aspect. You only see them as these kings. You don't see them as major arcana. You haven't encountered anyone who you feel meets that status of major arcana, of the Emperor, right? And so right now you're settling and you're like, okay, I'll take a King of Pentacles or I'll take a King of Swords. That's essentially like saying I'm either going to marry the rich guy or I'm going to marry the doctor, the lawyer, the whomever, because even if I'm not taken care of, emotionally, I'm taken care of financially. My stability is there. But it's like at the same time, you're ignoring what's really going to, bring you your 10 of Cups, your fulfillment, your happiness. What is really going to fulfill you emotionally? I feel like this may even be a continuation of last week's reading, but for, maybe a different collective or maybe even the same collective in which, there is that past person coming back and trying to, possibly give you an offer that they feel that, you can't refuse. And we had that Page of Swords there, right? Because it's not necessarily an emotional offer. They're watching you and they have a lot that they'd like to communicate with you about, but there's not necessarily any, emotional gain from this. I feel like a lot of this, again, is having to do with the inner work and realizing a lot of your emotional fulfillment is going to come from that inner work. And once you get through that shadow work and you start seeing the not necessarily, I don't want to say value because that is such a objectifying word. Once you realize that, everyone matters, that, male, female, whatever they identify as, everyone matters. And you cannot generalize everyone in the sense that that person is a man, and so I know they're a creep. That person, is a woman, and so I know that they're catty. Like, we can't have those specific generalizations. And while we do have data and statistics as well as particular patterns that we do notice as human beings in which, like, yes, there are, like, situations, and when it's like, you know, girl on girl hate, or even like, you know, male on male competition. A lot of that does stem from the patriarchy, but that's not necessarily like what I wanted to bring forth here. I feel like the awakening, the epiphany here is that a lot of your happiness is again going to come from letting go of that bitter aspect within that may be limiting you, because you are choosing to view a whole group in particular in that way. And this, you know, this isn't to discount any of your experiences, because I feel like, you know, especially with the Three of Cups, I do not know a single woman, a single, you know, chica who has not encountered another human, particularly male, and, you know, hasn't been, you know, assaulted in some way, whether it's SA or DV. And I'm not going to get too into that because I don't want to, you know, trigger y'all in that way. That's how these, you know, hate groups form, though, is, you know, a situation, an occurrence happens, and though it is enough to, you know, happening enough for us to see the pattern, that pattern is still deduced particularly to those humans who committed those acts of cruelty, and not necessarily a specific population as a whole. Okay, so in the aspect of not all women and not all men. Gosh, this is a wild one. Well, I do want to say that a lot of this does stem from, you know, being victimized. A lot of this, you know, has stemmed from, you know, us not having those boundaries and getting walked all over. I feel like the opposite here is true too, in which sometimes we can become our assaulters or our perpetrators, in which we start falling down that dark abyss of bitterness, and we start projecting that onto innocent people and treating them as if we're still being abused, if that makes sense, and treating them the way our perpetrators treated us. And in your heart, in your mind, and your, you know, you've got your third eye is wide open. That's why there's so much confusion here and so much indecision. You know what is right and what is wrong. And you also know it's wrong to show this much loathing and this much hatred toward innocent individuals who have done absolutely nothing to you. This isn't necessarily to lecture you, but this is to say that, you know, everything is going to be okay. It is time. Oh my gosh, the Two of Cups in reverse back there. Inner work, y'all. Inner work. You are merging. Your inner, you know, masculine and feminine energies are merging right now. And it's through this shadow work. Look at this. Look at this. Judgment has the red wings. Two of Cups has the red wings. You are seeing where you may have, you know, placed false judgments on others, and, you know, unfair judgments. And, you know, it's groupthink. Three of Cups in reverse, groupthink. It's like, it's easier to do those kinds of things in a group because y'all are just kind of like feeding off of each other, and, you know, it's really messed up. And again, that's why we have the Ace of Swords and the Devil out here and the World. I feel like this is a chapter that you're just ready to end, and you're realizing that You know, I don't know. I feel like you also need to really think about what it is that you want out of a partner if you're not already partnered. We have the Three of Wands here, okay? You are definitely going to get what you want, because what you want already wants you. But is it going to fulfill you? Is the King of Pentacles or this King of Swords going to fulfill you? Or are you looking for an Emperor? So while I am saying that you should have some grace for a particular population, especially in terms of a gendered population, and this isn't, for those who are, committing heinous acts and saying fucked up shit. Fuck those people. No grace for them. I'm talking about those who haven't done shit to you. But while you should have some grace for them, that doesn't mean that you have to date them off the bat. And that doesn't mean that you cannot have boundaries. I feel like a lot of situations came about because you let others run amok in your energy and you didn't have those boundaries with them because you were scared you were going to lose them. And I feel like, again, with the Three of Cups, people really ran amok. I feel like your heart has been stomped all over, and I feel like that's why the only, we have a relationship card here, and it's the Two of Cups, but it's in reverse. And then we have the Lovers, and that's in reverse too. I feel like there's just a lot of inner work to be done here, and a lot of observation, and a lot of realization that we cannot continue to only enforce selective empathy and tribal empathy. On top of that, we lose our sense of morality when we choose to discriminate against a group for an individual's or a few individuals' cruel acts. When we choose to segregate the individual and the innocent individuals as well, that is, when we lose our own sense of morality. I also feel like many, again, going back to the Scarlet Letter type deal, like, you are going through a major transition right now. I'm going to use the Disney Villains deck for this. But you're going through a major transition right now. This is by Minerva Siegel and illustrated by Ellie Goldwyn. What I mean by transition is that, again, like, you're coming out of that wounded warrior, Nine of Wands reverse energy, and you're seeing yourself for who you are. Oops, this is upside down. Excuse me, I don't want to shuffle toward myself. You're merging energies within you. You are learning self-acceptance, and therefore, when we learn self-acceptance, we learn how to accept other energies as well for who they are authentically. If we are ignoring our own inner authenticity and parts of ourselves that, we choose to keep hidden, then of course we're going to, misplace judgment on others. We're already judging ourselves. I feel like y'all are really hard on yourselves, especially in the looks department. And again, your deities, they helped you pick out this visage. So I feel like you should be a little more gentle on yourself. You didn't get that visage by like karma or anything like that. Y'all chose it. And if anything, it's fucking hot. And it doesn't have to meet, today's beauty standards to be considered hot. We have skin texture. We all have stretch marks, lumps and bumps, rolls. We got everything. Cellulite. We're human. Okay. Let's see. I feel like when you integrate these parts of yourselves, like things are just going to start making sense. Oops. This deck is just like so smooth, it's hard for me to shuffle it. You know what I mean, jelly beans? Okay, all of those flipped, so I'll take them. We have the 5 of Swords, 2 of Cups in reverse again, 7 of Coins in reverse, and the 10 of Cups again. For overall energy, or here, let me show you these first. So for main energy, 5 of Swords, 2 of Cups in reverse, again. Most people hate to like get like repeating cards, but I'm like, no, double the confirmation. It just means you need to work on that. We have the 7 of Coins in reverse. We got the 10 of Cups again. 10 of Cups. Whoo-wee. I feel like this is to also say that a lot of the fulfillment that you're seeking outside of yourself is within. And that, you know, again, the whole idea of self-acceptance. When we are really harsh on ourselves and judge ourselves in those harsh ways, we are going to judge others incredibly harshly. Okay, again, the Devil. And then we have the Knight of Swords. We have, again, the High Priestess. We have... the fuck is that? The 9 of Cups. Okay, I'm not gonna look at all these, but yeah. That is the 9 of Cups, okay? What's behind that? The Hangman, cool. And then we have the 10 of Swords in reverse. Everything is fine. 10 of Swords in reverse is essentially everything is fine. That's how I see it anyway. Like, it's like, bitch, what you worrying about? Like, you're fine. I feel like your guides are like really really feisty and snappy, to be honest. But yeah, a lot of the emotional fulfillment that you are seeking is within you. And I feel like when you refuse to cultivate and put that energy into yourself, you know, I'm surprised we don't have temperance out here, you know, transmutation. I guess we're focused more so on transformation, especially with the Devil out here repeating. With that, I feel like a lot of you just kind of feel like it's wrong to cultivate so much time and effort within yourself, and I'm hoping that over time that you will see that it's actually pertinent, especially when interacting with people outside of yourself. But on top of that, it's pertinent to ensure that our inner world is steady as well. Okay? I feel like this came out twice, 10 of Cups, to again remind us that, you know, in order to balance the outer world that we experience, we have to balance our inner world as well. Okay? I feel like y'all are going to be getting a lot of messages and a lot of downloads right now. And I feel like your deities, your guides, your angels, ancestors, they really want you to commune with them, and they feel like you don't talk to them enough. They want that sit down dinner with you. They want to sit down and eat with you. But once you guys learn this idea of self-acceptance, you are going to be a little more accepting of other people, and you are going to realize that humans are just going to human, and life will feel a lot lighter and brighter and easier and breezier, and you will also just kind of see opportunities just kind of fall into your lap, and your ships will come in. On top of that, like, once you do the inner work and you realize that, like, you know, what you're looking for outside of you is already within you. Hello, King of Pentacles. Hello, King of Swords. When you realize that that's already within you, I feel like you'll love yourself a lot more and have more value within yourself, and you'll realize how much you matter. Shoo, what a wild reading. I think it would be a good idea to get some advice from the Moonology deck. That is a hefty one, huh? There may be talk about, like, you know, going back to that whole Scarlet Letter thing, that, like, you know, y'all yourselves just are kind of a bad influence and lead people into temptation. But, you know, take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. That, I mean, it could be true, but you would know. If that's a message for you, you would know. I'm going to put this away. A lot of that was pretty much just confirmation, huh? That's why I like to do the downloads first. I feel like, you know, if we were to do the downloads after, like, it'd be like, oh, that makes sense. But I like to do the downloads first to show you that, like, there's confirmation here. Like, what we're talking about is real shit. Okay. Oh. Look at this. Yay! Triple Moon Goddess. Okay. I just channeled. I've actually been channeling this song for a while, so this actually might, like, be a helpful pick-me-up song for you. But it's called Jericho, and it's by Iniko. I will link all three of the songs from this reading in the description. Balance spirituality and practicality. That is in reverse. Full moon in Pisces. A fiery climax approaches. Full moon in Aries. Nothing will come of this situation. Void course of moon. All right, all three of those were in reverse. For overall energy, we have in reverse, the energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon. We have emotions are running high, supermoon. So kind of give yourself some grace in that aspect, because you're not the only one who's, you know, having some emotional times. I'm seeing a lot of purple here. Your third eye chakra is very active. Show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius. Your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. And I feel like this is your commitment to yourself. And then this is, oops, pull that. Have faith in your dreams, waxing crescent. And then adjustments are required, third quarter moon. I feel like with balance, spirituality, and practicality, you definitely need to commune with your deities, spirit guides. You need to get back to your roots and, you know, communicate with them at the very least. Pray, talk to them, put offerings on your altar, take a spiritual bath and meditate, but they want you to commune with them. You have been ignoring your spiritual side lately. You used to do a lot of rituals. Get back to your roots. In your roots, you will find some answers. With the fiery climax approaches and nothing will come of the situation in reverse, both of them, these are reminders, and again, emotions are running high, you know, the energy is gaining momentum, blah, 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 your commitment is being tested. Your commitment to yourself and to who you are at the core and who you want to be and who you know you can be, which is a better person each day, right? Obviously. That's all on you. And even though emotions are running high, it's up to you whether or not something comes of the situation and you erupt, or you choose to balance practicality and spirituality. Maybe even ask, you know, your deities what would they do, or just reel it in and, you know, realize maybe it's best not to react. With the energy is gaining momentum in reverse, not everything needs a reaction from us. Some adjustments are required, definitely is telling me that, again, a lot of shadow work is needed. Your third eye is very active, and I can feel like this is incredibly overwhelming for you. Whereas your root chakra, where everything, you know, I feel like you're absorbing through your crown and your third eye, and everything should be coming out of your root, but it's blocking. It's all getting stuck at the root. So you can go back to the downloads, kind of like even do some research, see what, you know, feels right to you. But there are definitely blockages at the root chakra, and your third eye is, and your crown are getting all this information. Okay. And it's, you know, it can feel overwhelming and like a lot, especially if there's no outlet. And so you definitely need to unblock your root chakra, and I feel like y'all would feel a lot better. I feel like you won't feel as irritable or anxious. I feel like, you know, it's not like going to solve all of your problems, but it is definitely going to aid with the shadow work. Gotta do the work. I just heard this. It's a hot take that I actually... When I used to be on Instagram, I used to follow this therapist called The Healing Vibe, and she's a holistic therapist. And her hot take is that, you know, maybe therapy isn't working because you're not putting in the work. I feel like accountability is huge right here. It's huge. And I feel like there are a lot of inner biases and a lot of stereotypes that are very prevalent, especially within the female community and the male community. But I don't pay attention to that shit. Like, you, especially if you are female, you are learning how to embrace your femininity while still respecting, at the very least, those who are learning and embracing their own masculinity. I feel like you are also learning how to embrace your own masculinity, because as much as, you know, we can hate men and all of that fun shit, as much as that happens, we are also hating a part of ourselves if we are, you know, showing them so much loathing and hate. We have masculine energy within us too. And this isn't to say that, like, you have to forgive your perpetrators, or that, you know, you're wrong for feeling any sort of bitterness, or that, you know, that it's fucked up that there's unhealed parts of you. It's just to point out those unhealed parts and to serve as a reminder that, like, hey, these are here and they need to be worked on, and life will get a lot better when you work on them. All right, I'm going to close it. I am out skis. By all that is divine, I will now close and exit this reading. Thank you for illuminating my path and for not retreating. Our session has now come to an end. This advice I shall not bend. Please be safe on your path and keep me safe in the aftermath. Blessed be. And so it be like that sometimes, y'all. Like, this was definitely some tough love from the deities, the spirit guides, the angels, the ancestors, but in all retrospect, they just want to connect with you and, you know, talk with you and, you know, reconvene, heal some things, help you with your healing work, help you with your manifestations. They just want to help you and they want to reconnect. And I feel like there's some parts of yourself that want to reconnect with you as well. So we're gonna leave it there. All right, I love you guys.